Have you ever wondered how a king with palaces of gold, diamonds in every crown, and power over millions could end up taking his last breath? Alone, hungry, and forgotten? It sounds impossible, right? But behind the glitter and glory were secrets so heavy, even the palace walls seemed to shiver in silence. What was it that made a ruler on a golden throne wake up at night, sweating, terrified? And what moment arrived when all that wealth and power meant nothing at all? Stay with me, because the truth you're about to hear is one of the darkest, most dangerous realities buried inside royal history. We're taught to see kings and queens as untouchable, wrapped in velvet robes, living forever in luxury. But history? History tells a different story. Inside its secret diary are pages filled with debt, betrayal, famine, and fears money couldn't cure. Tonight, we'll travel from Versailles to Russia, from the Mughal courts of India to the fragile Ottoman throne. And along the way, you'll hear the sounds the history books rarely mention: the clink of empty plates, the whisper of unpaid debts, and the scratching of a pen signing away a dying empire. Versailles, the jewel of France. Endless mirrors, sprawling gardens, and banquets that lasted all night. But behind the sparkle, the kingdom was bleeding. For decades, France borrowed and borrowed wars, luxuries, palaces, until the debt was so huge, the crown itself was drowning. By the late 1780s, Louis XVI had no choice. He called the Estates General for the first time in over 150 years. That one decision sparked the French Revolution. Imagine it, a king sipping from a golden cup while his country starved and the palace glittered on the edge of collapse. If Versailles showed us how luxury can hide a slow death, what happens when the throne itself becomes the target? Another dynasty, another crown, and a much bloodier ending. The Romanovs' splendor and amp, a violent end. The Romanovs ruled the biggest empire on earth, 11 time zones, palaces dripping with diamonds, and yet, by 1917, their world was on fire. Nicholas II and his family were captured, moved like prisoners. And in the early hours of July 17, 1918, they were led into a dark basement in Yekaterinburg. Minutes later, the dynasty that once seemed untouchable was gone. From priceless art to dying in total darkness, proof that no amount of wealth can buy your way out of fate? The Mughals built wonders the world still admires. Taj Mahal, jeweled thrones, courts that dazzled travelers. But behind the beauty, the empire was crumbling. Bad finances, crushing taxes, famines, and foreign powers circling like vultures. Slowly, a dynasty once seen as eternal became only a shadow. And when royal treasuries dried up, it wasn't just the palace kitchens that went cold. It was farmers, merchants, and entire towns. Who paid the price first? The Ottoman debt trap. The Ottomans wanted to modernize schools, armies, railroads. But every change came with a heavy price tag. By the 1800s, they were borrowing from Europe. By 1875, the empire was so deep in debt, most of its income went straight to lenders. The empire wasn't just bleeding money, it was bleeding time. And in that silence, unrest grew until the empire's own walls began to crack. Human stories beneath the crowns. Here's what textbooks rarely mention. Families crushed by taxes, servants who polished gold plates daily but couldn't afford bread, royal children raised in luxury, then exiled in a single night. Even kings wore invisible chains, marriages for politics, choices made from fear, debts passed from father to son. We see the crowns, but we forget the shoulders breaking underneath them. So if royal riches couldn't buy safety, peace, or even happiness, what did they really buy? And what lessons do they leave behind for us today? So if royal riches couldn't buy safety, peace, or even happiness, what did they really buy? And what lessons do they leave behind for us today? Lesson 1. Hide your debts, and collapse will find you. Lesson 2. When the gap between rich and poor grows too wide, revolutions follow. Lesson 3. Reforms made too late can't save a sinking throne. From Versailles to the Romanovs, from the Mughals to the Ottomans, the story is clear. Unimaginable wealth, built on fragile foundations. Royal riches gave us stunning palaces and priceless art. But look closer, and you'll see shadows of fear, hunger, and heartbreak behind every crown. If this story opened your eyes, and you want to uncover more secrets history tried to hide, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which royal dynasty should we expose next? Because remember, the gold is only what they wanted us to see. The truth is always hidden underneath.